Never Give Up, they've got one. LGD, they've got one. And here we go into the draft. I would be surprised to see Timber completely ignored again. I know you had said that maybe that Timber's falling out of favor. Mm-hmm. So I am curious to see, like, is that going to become trend?
I think I was surprised that it didn't get picked up at all in the draft. Like, it went from being first phase banned to not being touched at all, which I don't think is how the natural progression of heroes disappearing out of the meta tends to work, unless they get like a massive ban. So I would be interested, like you say, to see if the Timber gets picked up at all this game. But we shall see. It just goes back to first phase ban again after not being touched at all in the second game.
Completely ignored. On top of that, they banned the Enigma again. Like, that's a second game in a row that they're going to give the respect ban to Old 11.
Well, the thing is,
that's
though, like,
pretty nuts.
Enigma's one of those heroes where it feels horrible to play against, not just because of the lane, but you have to pick something. Like, if you don't ban Enigma, you have to pick something that is always going to be there in case they do pick Enigma, right? Because, like we talked about, you don't want to give them a free BKB black hole, because then it's such a horrible thing to play against, honestly. Like, it's just a free win condition.
At the same time, they tried to play against, they played against a game one, and maybe LGD played again, with that BKB black hole a bit too meticulously, to where, now you just give it to them again. Play like that again, guys. We'll win.
I don't think the Enigma was the problem that game, though. I think the problem came with the other two cores and the Slark and the Ember in that game one. So I think they realised that it could be a big problem for them, because Enigma can still play tempo, remember? Like, you can build Necrobook, you can build Helm of Dom, you can run down lanes and farm. It was only because he had a free game, like a free black hole game, that he went for the Blink BKB as like his straight after the Necrobook items. And yeah, there's the Ember ban. I'm not surprised at all. I think it's really important. We talked about getting LGD out of their comfort zone, making them play something different. Don't just give them this Ember hero again that they seem to be really confident with. Even though they lost game one with it, maybe picks it up in game two and says, I will prove to you why this hero is still really good.
So now the question is, what are they going to do instead of this Ember? Like, so, have they thrown a complete wrench?
Shadow Demon got first picked in both the first game and the second game.
And then Grimstroke followed it up too. Which, let's see.
You need to remember that DP's in the draft now. So I think that's got to be a big thing for both these teams. Oracle's been taking out, but DP's still in. So I'd be very surprised if neither of these teams didn't pick that hero up. I think it's too strong at the moment not to. It's got so much flexibility, the DP. You can lane it as a core in any three of the lanes. We've been seeing people play it as a 4 and a 5 sometimes as well. It's another hero that allows you to play around it as a win condition, in a similar way to like the Enigma or like the Naga or things like that.
They go to the Earthshaker first here for LGD. I know that when Chalice was in the offlane, they'd play this hero from time to time in the offlane. I would say more here in this situation, it's probably going to be that FY Earthshaker in that 4 position. But now we go into the RNG side of it. Like you said, Shadow Demon's been that first pick every single time. They could double pick the Shadow Demon into the Death Prophet, right? And be happy.
Ooh, this is different. Yeah, coming in. I thought these teams would be valuing the DP more, but this Pango, we haven't seen yet this series. It should be interesting to see how it goes. I like this hero a lot at the moment. I think it's in a decent place. Again, you have a lot of flexibility on the hero too, so you don't have to shove it into one position at the start of your draft. You can pick it early on. It's always going to do something decent, right? Like Rolling Thunder is just a good ability to have for your team. What is happening?
Here's the support that we have not seen at all in this series. I feel like we've not been seeing this support much throughout the event. And it used to be Lich was one of those sought-after 5s that was involved all the time. But at least in this event, 3 times. Not as low as maybe I thought. I thought it was going to be maybe just once or twice. But 3's still a pretty low number for how much we were seeing Lich. But he comes into this with the Pangolier. This has got to be Death Prophet, right? From LGD. I mean, to completely ignore it seems almost as insane as...
No, I was going to say against the Pango, probably not. But I'm really interested that this Lich pick, it's obviously something they're confident with. But in my mind, it might also be that if they see the Shaker as being the 4, then they might be like, okay, well, Shake is probably going to want to move around a bit, which means the offlane is going to be left alone. And what support hero can we pick that is going to enable us to try and bully that offlaner really hard? And I think Lich is definitely like the best at that, right? It's you kind of like the Lich is a good hero, but you've got to think about why they're picking it as well. Like why then during the draft? And this Bristleback got banned second phase before, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and on top of that, they went Bristle and immediately banned the Void. Like, what's the reason here that they're banning the Void so quickly? Is it strictly for the Bristleback to help him out and make sure that he's not calling that Chrono and very susceptible, or is it like what else would be behind instantly banning that Void?
The Void Spit's really good with Lich, right? As a pair, just straight off. Mm-hmm. Because like you have in the lane you can jump in with a Frost Shield on you, but then you also have the Chrono with the Chain Frost later on. The other thing is time dilation is super good against Bristleback, right? Like he pops Quill Spray, you pop time dilation on the Void, and it stops him from constantly spamming out those Quills throughout the whole fight, which is really, it's one of the hardest counters to Bristleback, especially in the laning stage. It makes it really difficult for him to ever kind of pressure the Void.
So there's that Death Prophet ban coming from Royal Never Give Up. They go into this third pick. We'll see what they go to. They've got the Lich as well as the Pangolier. This could still be, a September Pango. It doesn't have to necessarily be a Flywind Pango. They go to the Gyrocopter now, which is one of those Monet classics, I feel like.
Yeah, I think this is really good, especially if it ends up being an offlane Bristle as well. I think offlane Bristle really struggles against this hero, especially when there's a Lich 5 as well, right? Like they offer so much magic damage in the laning stage. I wouldn't be surprised to see this move to a Bristle position 1 now for Chalice. But if they're going to do that, they need to pick up some hero that like works well with the Bristle in the laning stage. Like Keeper of the Light got first phase banned. Oh yeah, talk about first phase bans, by the way. Do you remember at the start when I said I was really surprised that there were loads of support heroes banned and not cores?
And then this time it's 2 supports, 4 cores, or 6 cores.
6 core bans. I feel like, yeah. Like this Nyx got banned out in the first game as well, and it's just been completely untouched so far. Like across the whole series.
So LGD taking a lot of time here as the Gyrocopter came in last for Royal Never Give Up. They've got the Bristle as well as the Earthshaker. I'd like to see their other support. I mean, could they go... I don't really have anything amazing yet to go with, say, a Grimstroke coming through in the 5 position for LGD. The Shadow Demon's still there too, though.
Maybe like I know Liquid, when the Keeper of the Light's banned, they take the CM instead to like help the Bristle in the laning stage. Like help sustain their mana throughout the game. I think CM just doesn't really fit how LGD want to play. They really want to play aggressive. Disruptor. So there you go.
Yeah, and Disruptor plays his lane pretty aggressively. Throws out Thunder Strikes constantly. Looks to get some of those pickoffs started with say a Glimpse as well as the Static Storm come the mid game or closer to the mid game when he's got that level 6, depending on how quickly he gets it. I mean, we saw last game X Nova was able to hit level 5 so quickly on that Enchantress.
I also think that in the laning stage, Disruptor matches up really, really well against the Pango. Because, this guy that is reliant on Swashbuckle to get away, if he ever doesn't swashbuckle into the trees in the lane, then the Disruptor can always just glimpse him back again, and then they kind of like carry on chasing him down.
Yeah, and now they go to the Shadow Demon, which should be a 4 Shadow Demon, 5 Lich, puts the Pango definitely into a core role. So
honestly,
I like the Shadow Demon.
I would agree that it's most likely going to be a 4 Shadow Demon, but when you're playing against this Bristleback and you have the potential to build an Axe on Shadow Demon, which applies a break effect, it just absolutely destroys the Bristleback. So we'll see, but the other thing is, like, we talked about Bristle being not a great offlaner against this Lich Gyro. We have to remember he can always just creep skip, right? So they pick up the Riki instead, and it's a really good Riki game at the moment against everybody except maybe the Gyrocopter, who can build this really early BKB to help him out. But there's 3 squishy heroes beside him that all die, relatively quickly in a smoke cloud from the Riki.
And this Riki's probably a core Riki, probably that safe laner. Did I tell you about how we were seeing 4 position Riki going Blink Dagger, Diffusal Blink Dagger?
Yes, yeah.
I mean, that is just so, let me get onto the back lines, blink, blink strike, and then all of a sudden the supports that are trying to sit so far back are gone. They ban out the Storm, and maybe just because they kind of lack lockdown here for Royal Never Give Up. They do have the Sinister Gaze, Disruption, Homing Missile if it hits, but I mean, they could use a little bit more, and the Rolling Thunder does disrupt the fight. I feel like Storm would have an opportunity to really go off this game had he gotten through.
Yeah, it would have been a really good Storm game. They might look to pick something like a Kunkka here, though, as well, I think, on LGD. They need, like you said, like they have decent team fight with Shaker and Disruptor, but I think they need something that can like carry them through the early game a little bit. That it kind of allows them to like bridge the gap between when the Ricky's weak and when the Ricky's strong, like when he gets Diffusal Blade, for example, as well. Because their laning stage is going to be quite passive at the moment on LGD. Like Shaker wants to farm up his Blink before he really gets involved in fighting. Bristle's going to be skipping waves a lot. He doesn't really want to fight into them. Oh, they actually banned the Kunkka. Okay, interesting.
I wasn't really sure that would have Kunkka helped LGD enough. You know, could they just? Would it have been enough there with the Shadow Demon on the other side?
I think they just prefer the voice, but it's a similar type of hero, right? Is what I mean. That it's something that bridges the gap. Like his voice is really strong at the start of the game when it comes online. Like it can move around the map, it can make things happen. They need something that was just a little bit more active, and I think Kunkka kind of like fits that as well. But Kunkka also does really well against Void Spirit in the laning stage too. It's horrible to play against this Void Spirit, you know, with him constantly poking away at you with the Tidebringer, especially like the level 3 and level 5 mark. You know, Void Spirit doesn't really have any sustain to keep himself in the lane at all, so gets bullied out pretty quickly. And they also have Shadow Demon Kunkka, so if they would have got that,
and they go to that Void Spirit with the Ricky Disruptor, Bristleback, Earthshaker, mobile mid coming from LGD with the Void Spirit. We saw in game 1, I believe Royal Never Give Up played it for Setsu, right? And he was pretty mobile with that Void Spirit once he got a couple of items, because he started really slow. And now Bounty.
Finally.
Okay. Offlane Bounty.
Yes.
And mid Shadow Demon. Wow. Okay. So mid Shadow Demon, offlane Bounty, safe lane Gyro, 4-position Pango, 5-position Lich. I mean, this is why I shouldn't really deal with definitives where I'm like, this is definitely a core Pango, because then things like that happen, and all of a sudden it's a 4-position Pango.
I told you it might be a core Shadow Demon. I thought it was going to be put as a 3, but they upgrade it even harder. This Shadow Demon is going to be super cool to watch, actually. I haven't seen much of it in a while, but it links up really well with the Bounty Hunter, which, you know, Flywin is going to want to, you know, come online early with these track kills. They're going to want to play the tempo game themselves this time, and Setsu can kind of link up with him, and they have so much damage between them that it's kind of like free track kills early on, right? I've been asking for this Bounty Hunter to be picked in China, and none of the teams so far have picked it up. We see it for the first time, and I really hope RNG put on a show for us, because I really like this hero at the moment. I think the ability to generate gold from sources other than just creeps and like normal gold on the map for a Dota is such a unique concept that it comes. What is it, like Alchemist, Bounty Hunter, and that's about it, really, right? I think if you can utilize it well, it's amazing. So we'll see if they can get it done. But I think this is going to be a much closer game than last time.
Yeah, and that's what we've really been looking for. It seems like both games have kind of been one-sided. Of course, LGD had the lead in the early parts of that first game, but I mean, once there was around the 20-minute mark for RNG, or even before that, they really just started to go off, and LGD had certainly not done enough to win that first game, and they ended up losing that first game. Game 2, different story. LGD, wire to wire, they win game 2. So hopefully, like you said, this is going to be a closer game. At least that's what I want.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, it's fun to watch like really aggressive Dota, and it wasn't a stomp last game necessarily, but you know, RNG, they never really felt like they were in it before. I haven't seen a Pango Bounty Hunter lane in a while. I wonder how much they creep skip with the Pango, and just like pull waves back.
What's he going to be up against? The Ricky. Okay.
And I'm also wondering, like, how much time Old 11's going to spend in the laning stage as well. I feel like he's probably just going to end up stacking creep waves, you know, pretty much from the get-go. But Lich is pretty good at bullying him out at level 1. You know, this Frost Nova does a lot of damage.
I'm really excited to see this mid Shadow Demon. Goes first level into the disruption.
The battle
What's the
begins.
build that's different on a mid Shadow Demon?
The build. Oh, hang on. In a second, Bristleback's getting chased down a little bit here.
Old 11, Frost Blast, and the right click. Super gets the kill there on Old 11. Not much X Nova can do, and I'm not sure I was expecting a Bristleback to be first blood.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that FY decided to try and just go for the Fisher block straight from the get-go. I think if he'd have just... because he wants to get the double Fisher block off to secure the Bristol's lane, right? I assume. Yeah, they just want to let the range creep through. Okay, I think this is good. Because it means the lane's just going to constantly be pushing into the Bristol now. And now that the Old 11's going to get the XP from the first wave, FY's just going to go and skip afterwards. And he might get a couple of courier kills on the way. Yeah, they sent them both back straight away.
Hiding at the tier 2. Now hiding behind the tier 2. Not that he can go under that tower and get that curry. He'd be dead to rights to even try that. Meanwhile, top, Flywind taking a lot of damage here from X Nova. The Thunderstrike, a bit of a nuisance. He's got himself 2 mangoes as well, so the harassment won't stop immediately. They're really going to have to kill X Nova to make him feel uncomfortable in this lane, but he'll constantly throw down that Thunderstrike and make you feel like you're struggling so far.
Look at FY as well. As well, just messing with the creep wave. September, though, in...
September?
Ooh.
Has to eat that fairy fire.
They were relatively close to level 2 on the Dire side as well. I think if they had it, they probably would have gone for the kill, but still a couple of creeps off or so.
Gyro got low as well. Old 11 just putting stacks on with these quills, or at least trying to the point where Monet pops that wand, and he's sitting down here with just one more tango remaining.
Yeah, he's been tanking tower hits, like, just because of the creep waves that have been stacking up, so I don't mind this too much.
So Soul Ring will be first there for Old 11. FY, we'll see where he rotates to. You usually see FY pretty active towards mid early on with this Earthshaker. You know, to get the fissure that may block out, say, the Void Spirit from... Or, not the Void Spirit, block out the Shadow Demon from getting back. Could certainly help Somnus get a kill if he finds him low enough. He'll actually cut this courier off.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
Ah, Jesus, 2 tower shots and he is under half health.
Yeah, I mean, tier 2 towers are so strong now. They're pretty crazy. That's going to be really bad for Setsu. His courier die there means that he's probably not going to be able to get the bottle before... Well, he's not going to, but not going to be able to get the bottle before the 4-minute mark. So, you know, his mana regen's not going to be very high for much longer now. He's going to start to struggle a little bit soon.
Which will probably force, or you'd look to maybe force a 4 position or a 5, a support of some sort to come over towards mid for RNG to help secure that rune. Flywind's also sitting low.
Yeah, FY tried to make a rotation top to punish the bounty hunter, but they can't get on top of him. X Nova was too low to have to try and commit to the fight.
FY still sitting here over top. Nobody's going towards mid to maybe help with this power rune situation.
Yeah, which is different to the last 2 games we've seen. At the 4-minute mark, they were, you know, everybody was all in on making sure. Bot lane though as well. They're going on the Bristol.
And they've got the Sinister Gaze as well as the Rocket Barrage damage coming in on Old 11. The Frost Blast is there. Can they get the kill on Old 11? The Quills are starting to stack up and do a lot of damage on a Monet. And he survives, gets under the tower. The creeps mitigating that damage well enough where, well, at least for a second, Old 11 is thinking about coming back and trying to throw a Quill or 2. But Super, he eats 2 stacks.
Oh my God.
Now 3. This is not the neighborhood you want to be searching for a Bristleback in. That's for sure. His kinetic field is down. Flywind throws a shuriken out. Tricks of the trade. Can he escape? Dust is there. They get the kill onto X Nova, and now they look over at Flywind. They disarm the Earthshaker. They don't get this bounty hunter.
Yeah, and this mid lane's going really well for the Shadow Demon as well. He actually has 11 denies, which is really hurting the Void Spirit at the moment, who's constantly getting spammed out of the lane with Shadow Poison. They're going to TP mid to refill his bottle, just to try and keep the Void Spirit going in the lane. Like, he has Wand on the Void Spirit, but when this Shadow Poison spam just constantly comes through, it's horrible to play against.
They finally do end up getting the kill on Old 11. I believe I almost called the Bounty Hunter top Old 11. But that's not here nor there. And it's a 1,000 net worth lead for RNG. OGD, slow to start, at least in this game 3.
Yeah, but again, I think their lineup, we talked about how they needed to hit the timing with the Shaker Blink. Like, they need a little bit more of a time to come online, really. Like, this Riki doesn't really do a huge amount until he gets Diffusal, and then he's like a completely different hero. But up until that point, I feel like RNG are definitely in the driving seat. They're going to be feeling pretty good about this, but Shaker's coming top here, and September might be in trouble. Doesn't have Swashbuckle up.
Want to get on top of him. They throw the Fissure. September, one more shot. Chalice will get the kill. The kinetic field was enough to hold him there enough in time for FY to come over.
Ooh, Bristol might be in a bit of trouble here. He tried to find the next wave to pair up, but... Oh, he gets the courier, though.
Ooh, Old 11 dropping again. I mean, Monet is just putting on the hurt onto this Bristleback, and really, oh Jesus, another courier going down. Courier after courier constantly dropping, and it's 4-1 as they got that kill there onto the Bristle bottom. I mean, this has just been not a fun lane for the Bristleback, sitting 0-3-0.
No, not at all. And Flywin just walked under a Sentry Ward top, and I think he's going to pay the price for it. But he actually gets X-Nova first. Amazing. I mean, that third point in Janada, it really surprises you, I think, with how much damage it can do.
The extra 130 damage is quite nice, and he's continuing to look like he can kill off this Disruptor pretty easily. He's only level 3 right now, and maybe we see level 6 roll around for Bounty Hunter pretty quickly to the point where he's getting that track and killing off X-Nova and starting to boost up that gold that he's got.
Because you have to remember with Janada, it's not just the extra damage that it does, but it's how often you can do it as well. Like at level 1, you can do it 5 times per minute. So that's like, what, an extra 350 damage per minute? At level 3, you can do it 10 times a minute. And so that's an extra 1,300 damage.
Oh, Old 11 again, getting chased down bottom. Super gets the kill. It's the 4th time he has died. They send X-Nova here with Somnus as well as FY. They'll use the Astral Step on a Monet. They should be able to get the kill with the Astral Spirit. Getting the lockdown on the Monet. They've got themselves the glimpse. Somnus under the tower needs to be a little bit careful, but they'll finish off Super.
September's coming in, though.
Not the Astral Remnant. Swashbuckle? Can he get one more shot at least?
Middle tower is under attack.
So close. Unfortunately,
there with the Resonant
no point in Shield Crush, you know. It's the standard at the moment, but would have loved it there. 8-minute rune as well here. I think Setsu's in a spot of bother.
Oh yeah, Setsu is definitely dead to Chalice, and now coming over though is Monet, thinking about maybe engaging, but 3v1 would have been ill-advised, that's for sure.
I'm wondering what Setsu's going to build this game on the Shadow Demon, by the way. Like, he's got this Aether Lens queued up, but I'm wondering if he's going to go into the Axe like straight away as a second item, or if he feels like he needs to make like a stop out first with like maybe something that gives just a little bit more safe, you know, a few more stats. A Lich is getting gone on here, by the way.
Yeah, the Astral Step forward, there's another one, Sinister Gaze, and the Glimpse was used on the Lich. They get the kill on the Superman. Monet moving forward. September, though, he's sitting low. I don't know if he wants to be here. He's dead immediately. The Rocket Barrage comes in. Chalice trying to move over on Monet to get the kill onto the Gyrocopter. They got themselves a third. Now the Shuriken all the way over on X-Nova. They look at Flywin to try and get a kill here onto the Bounty Hunter. So a 3-4-1 so far, but with the Aether Remnant, the lockdown Setsu, make it a 4th. Double kill for Chalice. And it's 9-7 in favor of LGD.
I wasn't expecting Chalice to actually rotate this early on the Riki, but he's really not afraid to get involved here. The thing is, like, for RNG, your Bounty Hunter and Gyrocopter hit this relatively similar timing where they both want to fight really early on, right? Like, the Gyrocopter coming through, like, the constant Rocket Barrage damage, you know, you have the track to try and build up your golds early on. If you lose a couple of these early fights that you feel like you should be winning, you're going to feel like you're in a really bad position here on the Radiant side. Like, this Shadow Demon has a lot of CS, but if it hasn't transitioned to net worth because a lot of them are neutral creeps. And he is really struggling to come online this game now. feel like Shadow Demon's the hero that you need to be kind of playing in front on. Otherwise, it feels a little bit lackluster.
There's still an opportunity that, you know, he could come back. They do have track now. So certainly something that they can work with as FY hit with the track. They've got the dust on a Flywin, though. Just retreat from going in onto the Bounty Hunter for now. They've also got Chalice down here.
Yeah, Setsu tried to stack a big camp as well and didn't manage it.
He's dusted and walking into a sentry.
Sure.
Oh boy.
Why not? Go crazy.
Blink Strike giving that away.
And I think Monet might feel like he has to go into farm mode here because the game hasn't had a good start for them. Like, I don't know if he feels confident in his ability to fight with his team now, like to get track kills and things, because of how active LGD have been early on. X-Nova about to hit that level 6 as well with a nice D-ward.
Tell me, do the undead sleep?
Setsu's sitting here on level 8. He's got 3 in the Disruption, 4 in the Shadow Poison, 1 in the Demonic Purge. He's still going for that Aether Lens. Now Somnus moving forward, but there's the Rolling Thunder. The Kinetic Field is down as well as the Fissure hitting on 2 of these heroes. Super throws the Chain Frost that bounces over to the Creeps, back over on X-Nova. They've got the track on the Chalice. They're trying to get the kill, but the Glimpse on a Monet sends him out of the mid lane. And the homing missile will still fly over to X-Nova. However, it won't get there as September gets the kill onto this Disruptor with the Swashbuckle. Flywind dies to Somnus, and if they had the Gyro, this might have been a better fight, but a good job there by X-Nova to send him back with the Glimpse.
I love how Chalice is playing this game. Like, he's not afraid to get stuck in early on. Like, he's trying to get a lot done, making sure they don't get run over by this BH Gyro combo. And when he gets this Diffuser, he's going to be really scary, but he actually just gets disrupted. He's fine.
Axe could be so valuable here for Setsu.
It could, but he's so underfarmed. Like, in comparison to where he wants to be, at least. They got the Glimpse as well.
Good disruption, but that'll set up the Static Storm as well as the Kinetic Field, so I'm not sure it really is that good. It does allow him to get away from the Glimpse, but not away from everything else. The Rocket Barrage, though, on a Somnus with the Frost Blast coming in from Super. They get the kill on a 2. They take X-Nova's life as well. Swashbuckle, Rolling Thunder, hits on the Chalice. Chalice, he's dusted up for a second longer. Blink Strikes back to old 11. And now Monet giving chase. He's got the help from Flywind as well as Super. Thinking about going in on this. Chalice, I'm not certain if he'll want to make a jump, seeing as Flywind would be right there ready to go with the track.
Does Ricky have Diffuser Blade up now? No, he doesn't. He just doesn't have it queued up for some reason. Fair enough. So he's got the double Blade of Alacrity, but he's almost there. I understand what you're saying about the Shadow Demon, like if he gets to the axe and stuff, right? But the thing is, this is supposed to be the point in the game where he's strongest, right? And it just feels like he's so lackluster. He's not really achieving too much. Like, he hasn't even got his Aether Lens finished yet. He's not even close. Not really. Oh, I guess he's about 500 gold off. But again, with how the tempo of this game's going, that doesn't feel close. I think LGD is showing why they really like this Bristleback too.
Track out on old 11. Looks like they're trying to set up to get the kill into the Bristleback. They've got the disruption, and now what else can they get with this? There's the Astral Step forward, and the Aether Remnant is down. Tricks of the Trade doing damage on a Setsu, but he's got that Frost Shield. Demonic Purge hits on a Somnus. Sinister Gaze pulls him back. The Fissure is out from FY. He'll split up this team fight, but Monet continuing to move on forward as he looks over Chalice, taking a lot of damage with the call down. It gets the kill on a Somnus. They'll take out Chalice. Oh my, oh my. LGD have gone in a bit too far.
Yeah, great fight by RNG. They're trying to just kill the Shadow Demon at the start of every single fight, right? Which is definitely the right call, because if you can slow his game down, we've talked about how, you know, little it feels like he's doing. But at the same time, like, the Lich throws out the Frost Shield, and all of a sudden, yeah, they miss a couple of skills on him, and the Shadow Demon just survives the whole, you know, first like wave of burst, effectively. And then, yeah, just the fight completely turns around because the Gyro, with this Mithril Hammer now as well, you know, he does hurt with his spell usage. And RNG all in the right place at the right time there.
Setsu moves over. He should finish off the Aether Lens with the disassembling of the boots. He's now got an Aether Lens as well as a Keen Optic. So, a good amount of extra cast range. Do the math right, it's an extra 325. plus the 75 cast range from the 10 talent. And you can start using, you know, that demonic purge from quite a distance away.
Feels pretty good. This bristleback, by the way, has gone for Hood first, which is, you know, 100% the right play. If you look at Radiant's lineup, they don't have a huge amount of physical damage.
Flywin in trouble. Blocked off thanks to the fissure. And a good kill there. Great job by FY. Blocks him out. Can't go past this point with the fissure down here. Pinches him in between the stairs and the fissure, and they'll get the kill easily.
Joe, we talked about how Chalice was doing a really good job by just being around the map everywhere. I think it looked really good because they were getting kills, right? But the last few minutes or so, look at how far the Gyro's pulled ahead because of that fight bot, the track kills, and then just constant farming.
They do get the kill there on a super very quickly. And that'll secure them most likely the tier 1 win.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Ooh, good Aether Remnant. Static Storm. Look at the jump immediately. Right onto them. They get the kill on a September. They can really overwhelm you if they spot you like that. But now they look over at Somnus. They've got themselves the Shuriken bouncing around the tracks out on the Somnus as well as the Fissure now hitting onto 3 of these heroes, I believe. Didn't have my camera perfect to see if that hit on Setsu, but there wasn't enough follow-up from LGD there, as they don't have that Blink Dagger on FY to follow that up and maybe throw an Echo Slam.
Was that just really good game sense by Xnova to put a kinetic field in the trees? To catch the Pango? I assume it was. I don't think they saw it.
It must have been, right? Because they... You mean over right here, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, originally. I think so. It's gotta be. Unless they had vision on him going in that spot, but I don't think they did. It was a really good job from Xnova. It was, you know, maybe just an assumption that somebody's going to be sitting there to look to defend if they go to the tier 2 tower, because it looked like they were conceding that tier 1, you know, the entire time. So potentially through Xnova's mind is the thought of, hey, like, we're going to sit back, and if they go for the tier 2, we'll jump. And
I like that Gyro's going BKB second item, by the way. I don't think he has a choice this game. I think he has to make sure he does.
Of a Q,
actually,
Grove Bow, Nether Shawl, and a Dragon Scale.
Gyro takes a Aquila, which is nice, but there's also a Grove Bow in the shop that he just sent back. Like, I feel like he should probably take the Grove Bow and somebody else on the team takes the Aquila. It's just wanted to be a little bit more balanced out overall. And there's a Grove Bow for the Void Spirit as well if he wants it, but seems to be pretty happy with the Nether Shawl considering they don't have a huge amount of physical damage on the Radiant side.
So before the Sags, at least Shadow Demon going into the Yules. See how that works out for him.
Okay. I mean, it's okay. Like, I don't think it's amazing.
Flywin spotted, and you just look at how quickly they can really get rid of this Bounty Hunter. They're going to try and follow this up with a fight, but they've got the glimpse on a Monet, so that sends the Gyro to the back lines, and now the Fissure hits onto the Lich. Rolling Thunder coming through, they'll at least get the kill onto Xnova, but they really wanted more, and it's a good job by Xnova to get the glimpse on a Monet and send him to the back of the fight.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine, but at the same time, it's not track kills, right? Which is, you know, if Flywin's dying first every single time, which it feels like he is at the moment, then they're not getting track kills in the fight. And it means if, like at the moment, if they trade a fight evenly and the Bounty Hunter lives and they get track kills, it's still worth it for them overall because they get a bigger gold increase. But if without that, then it's like LGD have the better late game.
They were trying to make something happen. The Tricks of the Trade as well as the smoke screen comes in, but there's the Astral Step from Somnus. The Chain Frost bouncing around, doing a lot of damage onto Somnus. He'll Astral Step away, but with the track and the Swashbuckle, they get the kill there. Echo Slam committed. Flywin with the Disruption. They get the kill there on a Monet. FY gets credit for that one as the Echo Slam was well placed. Now they look over at Old 11, who's jumping into this fight. Gets the kill on Flywin. Looks over at Super. They got the Courier at least, and now they look for Setsu. It'll take out the Shadow Demon 3 heroes. Gone. Super makes his way back to base with a TP and a double kill there for Chalice.
They really need this BKB on the Gyrocopter before they fight on RNG, because if he dies at the start of the fight, like, the fight's just over straight away. Like, he has to be dealing a lot of damage for his team. Like, the Shadow Demon's not really doing anything, the Bounty Hunter's not really doing anything either. So if the Gyro's not getting his damage off in fights and, like, dealing a significant amount, then this Bristle especially is going completely untouched. And like I said before, you can see why they've second phase banned it now before an RNG, because Old 11 really showing what he can do on this hero.
Seems like Somnus has done a good job on this. Void Spirit just jumping into the fight. They've really been coordinating to the jumps. Chalice and Somnus just jumping in together almost immediately. And that with like X Nova throwing down a kinetic field is almost guaranteed to kill. They're looking for September.
There for Glimpse.
There it is. Glimpse all the way back. Tricks of the trade with the fissure. Old 11 gets the kill.
It's just relentless from LGD, and they just aren't afraid. Like, even if they lose a fight, they're just going to carry on running at you again. Like, they aren't afraid. And you don't normally see that against a bounty hunter, but they're so confident in their ability to, you know, use their spells well together that, you know, when they do win these fights, and especially with the Void Spirit Ags now, they are so far in the driving seat. Like, all of a sudden, maybe just doesn't have all this dead net worth. Like, it's in an item that is actually going to make an incredible difference in the fights.
Just looking at what Flywind was dealing with before, as you were talking about the Ags coming through, just what he has to deal with the Rubik jumping forward. Like, if he's in vision, a jump and a smoke screen with the Diffusal Blade, and all of a sudden Bounty Hunter is almost getting solo killed here by Chalice.
Like, he can't really farm on Bounty Hunter as a hero. Like, he has no capability. So if you don't get track kills for yourself, then you just fall off so quickly. And you can definitely see that at the moment. Like, he has no net worth progression at all. Like, he's going for this BKB, but, you know, he's almost the whole gold duration away.
This has been tough for the Bounty Hunter. I kind of talked about, because we saw it, the hints of it as Setsu falling behind as well, that maybe if they were able to get track kills, they could bring themselves back into the game. But it's been a good job by LGD to focus the Bounty Hunter. He's dead 6 times in this game, and they start off the fights just killing him off.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Ooh, Arcane Roof. That's going to be really good for the Void Spirit.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Do you want to take bets on what Void Spirit builds next?
Dire are scanning.
AC?
I'm going to go with
Roshan has fallen to the dire.
Sanj Kaya, which is what the guy built yesterday. Seemed like a good laugh.
Astral Step, look at the damage. Just immediately out on a super, but Chalice may have gotten in a little bit too far. The BKB's been popped by Monet. They focus on to this Ricky, and they've got the track on multiple heroes this time. Sinister Gaze comes through. Great Echo Slam coming in from FY. Bang them down and bang them dead. Monet, September, Flywind, Super, they'll all go down, make it a full team wipe with Setsu hitting the deck. LGD off the back of FY. Woo! Coming in like the FY god that he is known for with that Echo Slam. And that was one of the things that he was struggling to accomplish when he didn't have that Blink Dagger. We saw that fight where it was originally over here. Like, he didn't, you know, he threw the fissure, it hit on 3. He didn't have the Blink Dagger to follow it up with an Echo Slam. This time he does, and this time he cleans up this entire side of RNG.
That was so... I think Old 11 played really well that fight. I don't know if you saw. He basically just ran in. And he was like, I know I'm not going to die. You know, Gyro pops BKB, and they basically just kite the whole duration. You know, Ricky blinks away. Bristol just stands in the middle because he has Lotus Hood. Like, he's not dying. And then all of a sudden, as soon as the BKB runs out, yeah, that's when FY steps up to the table, gets the, I think it was a 4-man Echo or something there, right? And they've found the Bounty Hunter here.
Gets the dust. They've got the Glimpse, Kinetic Field. Finally, he'll throw a dust out there, or throw a track out there on a 2. But what are you getting from this? Smoke was used by Super. It's immediately broken.
God, I hate Bristle. I can't wait for it to get nerfed, actually.
Were all 4 of those deaths in the lane?
I think so, yeah. Like, it feels like he hasn't died in a while. And he has the Vampire Fangs as well, right? So if he wasn't difficult to kill before, he definitely is now. Level 18.
Gosh, he feels so strong at this point, sitting top of the net worth, followed by Chalice, who's got himself the Asha. What are you going forward here, Void Spirit? It's that Sanj.
You might have to BKB here. No, he's okay. Very patient. He's going Kaya Sanj, by the way, on the Void Spirit. Thank you very much.
No, he'll switch that out. It's okay.
Even though he's got the Kaya coming out.
No, he doesn't. It's okay. Courier won't.
I haven't seen any Void Spirits do this except the Chinese ones, by the way. The first time I saw it was when we started casting them.
Chalice forward. Double damage available on Somnus.
A gift from
How
the
far forward do RNG want to go? They were starting to step up in front of this tier 2 tower, but they are down quite a bit. And look at how quickly September's just taken out of the fight. They look over at Setsu. They've got their second Astral Step. Setsu hit with the Blink Strike. Goes down. BKB's been popped by Monet, and they'll take the Aegis away. But that might just be it. Echo Slam committed from Fly. Now they'll take out the rest of these heroes. They look over at Fly when they've got the track. Can he get the damage out? No, he can't. They'll get the kill there onto the Bounty Hunter. They look over at Monet to make it a full team wipe.
Yeah.
Dissimulate the kill. The GG.LGD with a reverse sweep 2-1 victory over RNG.
You know what? I don't think RNG played anywhere near as capable as they were this game, but fair play to them. They tried something different. You know, they tried to put the Shadow Demon mid. They thought it was going to be good. You know, it didn't really work out for them. I actually think Chalice played really well this game by making sure he fought early on to not give RNG all these free track kills. Like, he was in every single fight early on. He got his treads, double Wraithband, and he just went. And they did a really good job of just controlling the whole bottom half of the map. And this RNG side didn't really have anywhere to play. Like, they felt pressured to fight because they had this Gyro and the Bounty Hunter that they were like, well, why can't we take fights? Like, it should be easy for us, right? Like, we have track, we have like flat cannon, we have cooldown, we have so many spells that allow us to fight early on. But LGD they have this Bristle standing at the front, and he doesn't care. Like, he just tanks all the damage. And if you do kill him, it's going to take you like all the spells plus all the spells again, it feels like. And in that meantime, you know, Chalice is, you know, jumping around doing a lot. I think this Disruptor pick by LGD was really good because it allows them to... It complements the game style they want to play as well, right? Like, when you're playing from in front, Disruptor feels really strong because, you know, you're constantly glimpsing back these +1s all the time. If they'd have fallen behind at any point, I think it would have been a completely different story. But, you know, LGD completely controlling the tempo of the game, like game 2, and they never looked back.
Yeah, it was another one of those cases where it's like RNG are doing pretty good